The honourable member for Richmond.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my colleague, the Leader of the Official Opposition, for allowing me the opportunity to respond to the statement. As you would know, Mr. Speaker, the former NewPage mill is located in Point Tupper, Richmond County, and certainly makes up a significant portion of our municipal tax base, and is certainly one of our most important assets in our county. Mr. Speaker, it has been troubling times in Richmond County and the entire Strait area since NewPage closed down their operations of September of 2011. For current and former employees, their families, and the entire community of Strait area have been in hot idle mode. Mr. Speaker, they have been waiting to see exactly what is going to happen to get that mill back up and running. Mr. Speaker, as you know, unlike other mills in the province, the one strongest asset that we have at the former NewPage facility is the super-calendared paper mill, which was almost $1 billion investment made by former Stora Enso, and which remains one of the most efficient, highest producing super-calendared mills in the world. Mr. Speaker, there is a future for this product and there is a future for this mill, and we're certainly looking forward to be able to have it in operation for many years to come. Mr. Speaker, I do recognize that the government has worked to try to keep the mill in a resale condition and the employees working in the woodlands. And what has been frustrating through that is, although they've created a mills committee, the mills committee has never included representatives from the legislature in the Strait area. Neither myself, the member for Inverness, the member for Guysborough Sheet Harbour, or the member for Antigonish have ever been invited to attend those meetings or to be able to hear the discussions taking place. Because, Mr. Speaker, what's unfortunate is that when the workers and their families and business leaders were looking for answers, they were calling us. And unfortunately, we were unable to provide them with any because we weren't allowed to be part of that process. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the union for the tough decision it had to make in accepting the agreement which was put forward by Pacific West Commercial Corporation. They have clearly indicated their willingness to make significant sacrifices in order to maintain these jobs and maintain this facility into the future. Mr. Speaker, many questions remain regarding the sale of the NewPage mill. One of the main questions Nova Scotians are asking the people in the Strait area is what is taking so long to reach a deal with Nova Scotia Power? I understand the Premier says he's spoken to the CEO, but I would suggest to the Premier that when you have a monopoly, you have a responsibility. And it's not to negotiate with just anyone. This is a situation where time is of the essence, and I would encourage the Premier to use his office to demand that the company work as quickly as possible to reach a deal so that this can move forward and we can see this mill operating once again. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the Premier's statement has failed to address the impact of high power rates, not only on this business, but on all businesses in Nova Scotia, and how much longer before we find ourselves in similar situation with businesses having to close down. One of the questions being asked as well is that, is there a means of speeding up the UARB process? Many believe that the application at the end will be very similar to the application brought forward by NewPage and Bowater months ago. Therefore, if it is similar, why is it going to take an entire hearing again to have this heard, and is there a way of making this go faster? One of the other questions, and I asked the Minister of Natural Resources just recently, is where are we at with negotiating a new Crown Fibre agreement? And why is that not ready to go? Because clearly that is something that has to be put in place before this can go any further. I've heard the Premier say that he's unable to disclose what the province is going to do because of the court process. But that makes it extremely challenging for us as legislators when Nova Scotians are asking what debate took place on what the province's role was in this matter. I would suggest to you that any details that are going to be disclosed will be after this House has risen, and there will not be a full debate on the floor of this House, because it would appear that there's as well another financial package that will be offered by the province to Pacific West Corporation before the opening of that mill, and Nova Scotians certainly deserve to know the details of that. One of the questions we have is, will there be conditions attached to any further government funding? We've seen that no such conditions were put in with the Bowater deal, and we're seeing the impact of that today with continued shutdowns which are taking place and absolutely no requirement to maintain a specific level of workforce. One of the disappointments in the Premier's statement today is that he has made absolutely no mention of an economic strategy or a plan for the over 300 skilled tradespeople who will not be offered a job should Pacific West conclude an agreement and reopen that mill. Mr. Speaker, this is going to have a tremendous impact on the economy of the Strait area. For many of the employees, their employment insurance will be running out in the month of May. Therefore, if this deal is not concluded soon, many will be left with absolutely no income. Many have gone out west, which begs the question of how many will return. The other issue which the Premier has completely failed to address is the 4 pension plans that were operated under NewPage, which we now know were $130 million underfunded. Mr. Speaker, there are 1,000 former and active employees that are impacted by this. We are now being told that it will be approximately a 30% reduction of their pensions, which has many retirees now questioning whether they will have to return to work. As I've said in this House many times, the pensions from NewPage and the previous Stora and Stora Enso were some of the only private pensions that we have in the Strait area. This type of reduction is going to have a devastating impact on our economy. And I was hoping today the Premier would have had some indication of what his government plans on doing in the winding up process of these pension plans to try to ensure that they're protected as much as possible and that the province is working to try to make sure the best financial deal is available in the winding up process. Unfortunately, that was not even mentioned in the Premier's statement. I want to commend the municipality of Richmond, which I know is also being asked to make concessions on the tax side. There was previously a bill brought in this chamber for a tax deal that was achieved with Stora in the municipality, and my understanding is that that may be looked at again. At the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, we are all looking forward to this. I believe the Premier has the ability to demand that negotiations move faster so that this mill can be up and running. I've made the offer before, and I'll make it again, to work with the government, to work with all the partners so that we can see a positive solution and have that mill back up and running as soon as possible. Merci.
Thank you.